Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are having an amazing day so far, and I hope you had a fantastic week. It is finally Friday and I am pooped. I've had such a hectic week. It's tax return time here in Slovakia, and I've got a new accountant because the accountant I used for the first couple of years we were here has retired, and my new accountant was highly recommended, and she's brilliant, but she doesn't speak English and I can't speak Slovak or read Slovak. So every time she's needed any information, because it's the first time she's dealing with me, I have to run down and get it translated, and then I know Google Translate is brilliant in that, but some things you need to just find out for sure, because I don't know if you've ever used Google Translate, but sometimes what it gives you back has nothing to do with the topic at hand. So yeah, I've been running up and down. I've had to produce documents I didn't even know existed, and yeah, it's been a hectic week, and I'm still not done. I'll only be finished by about Wednesday, I think, but then once she's done it this time, hopefully next year is going to be a lot easier. Anyway, today we are reacting to Maryland. 10 culture shocks about Maryland. This is a request from Michael Jones here on Patreon. I believe he's actually from there. And I'm pretty excited about this video because I've never really looked at Maryland. The only thing I know about it, it's in the title of this as well, is about the Old Bay spices. That's about it really. So I'm quite excited about this because I love new places and seeing new places. And yeah, I don't know, it just gives me more ideas for the future. Speaking of the future, we put in a formal request with the kids' schools, asking them if the kids can go, like, take a month off school from October the 1st to November the 1st, because that is when we are planning on coming over. So we're just waiting for that pending approval. Once they've approved, then we can get the ball rolling if they approve. I was looking at tickets yesterday, and we'll have to fly from Slovakia to London, to like Luton Airport, and then from Luton to London Heathrow, and then from Heathrow out to the States, because that's going to be the cheapest, believe it or not, and the quickest. And for the flights, it's about 3,200 euros for the four of us return, which is pretty reasonable, to be honest with you. And then obviously it's spending money. So the next 9 or 10 months are going to be pretty hectic. I'm going to have to really pull finger and work my butt off to get some spending money. But yeah, we are super excited. I actually got into contact with a RV rental company, and they were wanting to charge me, I think it worked out to like $8,000 for the month, plus $1,500 deposit, and it only gave you 150 miles a day. Other than that, if you went over that, it was like 45 cents per mile. So it works out quite expensive, but we're figuring it out. The ball is rolling, it's in motion, and I'm super excited. Anyway, I'm waffling too much. Let's check out Maryland. 10 culture shocks about Maryland. Oh, excuse me.
Hey there, fellow travelers, Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're here in Baltimore.
Sorry to pause already. The first thing that caught my eye was that church behind him. I think it's a church. I love old buildings like that. I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to stuff like that. Kat always, I think I've mentioned it before, she always like looks at me weird because I'll go and touch like the walls and stuff, just because it's been around for so long, especially here in Europe. You can touch something that's been there for 1,000 years or whatever it is, and like, I don't know, I find it really special that someone else touched that all those years ago, and I've just close my eyes and imagine what they were thinking, seeing, hearing. I love that sort of stuff.
We're Maryland, Charm City, and today we're going to talk about our 10 things that shock or surprise tourists when they come to Maryland. And I'm going to start off with this one that's really gotten me quite a lot while I've been here, and that is Marylanders' really unhealthy obsession and addiction to Old Bay seasoning. Now, if you've ever had Old Bay before, usually if you're outside of Maryland, you might use it with some seafood, right? You're making a low country boil in the South, or, you know, a Frogmore stew in Charleston or whatever. You might have, you know, that on there, and it has a very distinct flavor. It's great, and you like when they use it, but here, they literally put it on everything. Now, you know, yes, with your crab cakes, it's in there.
Ooh,
yes,
I love crab cakes.
Also, well, I had it on the rim of one of my beers when I was here. I mean, I had Fisher's popcorn. That was caramel corn with.
I tell you what, if you're proud of something, celebrate it. That's awesome.
Old Bay seasoning. I mean, they sell hats with Old Bay. They have T-shirts on Old Bay that literally say, I put Old Bay on my Old Bay. I mean, they have an unhealthy thing with it. And when you come here, you start to realize, wow, it really is put in a lot of stuff when you're here. So that kind of surprises people how it kind of creeps in. And I know I've been having it a lot. I'm here a bit longer, so I'm sure there's some more Old Bay that will get into my bones and into my blood when I'm here. But that's one thing that might shock you, is just how much Old Bay really is a thing here, okay? Now, the second thing that's going to shock you when you come here is just their love affair with their state flag. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Maryland definitely has the coolest state flag in the U.S. I mean, I'm from Illinois. Ours is pretty blah, you know, but theirs
is
like
pretty cool looking flag.
It is. It's actually 2 coat of arms that are put on there, and it's just fantastically cool. But what's cool and crazy about it, Shocks Tours, is it's not just on the license plate. You'll see hats, you'll see shirts, you'll see, I mean, on the side of buildings. I mean, it's all over the place because they really, really, really love their Maryland flag here in Maryland.
And so they should. Texas as well, don't they? Texas quite love their state flag. It's like everything. And we did a video on properties on my channel the other day, Kat and I, and that's something I really like, is how celebrated the state flag is, as well as the national flag, of course. But like the state flags is something, it's quite different to me anyway, because I don't think we get that here. I don't know anyway. I don't know a lot about like the states and districts in Slovakia, to be honest with you, but yeah.
Now, the third thing that shocks tourists when they come here to Maryland is that it's more than just Baltimore and Ocean City. Look, Maryland's got a lot of fantastic state parks you can go visit. Swallow Falls State Park with the falls that are there, those are super cool to check out. You can go on all kinds of hiking trails. The Billy Goat Trail is really cool to do. I mean, all these different state parks you go see. I mean, I know we were on the very western part of the state, and here's another shocker. They have mountains in the western part of Maryland. I mean, like, what? No, Maryland's Chesapeake Bay and crab and oysters. Like, that's what it is. It's not
oysters. I love oysters.
Yes, it is. That's why it's so much more than Baltimore and Ocean City. I mean, seriously, if you go like 2.5 hours straight west from where I am right now, you're in Grantsville, you're in the mountains. You can go to Castleman River Bridge State Park. It's got this beautiful bridge you can go over. I mean, it's just beautiful. And you're like, wow, look at this scenery that's here. It's more than just the bay to enjoy, and it comes to nature here. So yes, and please don't forget that, because it is so much more than just coming to Baltimore and Ocean City. Because honestly, I just like driving out in the western part of Maryland. It's just gorgeous out there.
Lucky's Liquors. Very
the fourth thing that shocks tourists when they come here to Maryland is just how much the Marylanders love crab. And when I say love crab, I mean, everyone loves crab. It's fantastic. And when you have Maryland blue crab, oh my gosh, it's a little bit sweeter than kind of traditional crab you're probably used to having, and it's wonderful. And they put it in.
I'm so freaking, like I was saying to Kat yesterday, because we get to the point, like, because we cook fresh every day, both of us, like we'll take it in turns and that, and you get to the point where you're sick of. Not sick of it, but like you get stuck in a rut, don't you? You start cooking the same things. I said to it, you know what I really, really fancy is some nice seafood. And it's so hard to get here unless we drive into probably Bratislava or maybe one of the other bigger towns. But here where we are in like the Ružomberok district, we cannot, you can get some like frozen shrimp and frozen sardines. But then a lot of the times it's catfish, African catfish, and carp in the shops, and trout as well, farmed trout. But like seafood, you know that there's a difference. I really, really miss seafood, and crabs were like one of my favorite in South Africa. Like if we were able to get crabs while we were fishing or something, we were so like, oh.
So many things like the lump crab cakes. Oh my God, you're going to want to have those when you're here. They're so good. Or just the steamed crab. Oh my God. And steamed crab, remember, fresh steamed crab, that's in the warm months, not in the cold months, okay? That's wonderful. I mean, if you got kids, you'll be able to sneak some crab into their mac and cheese. I mean,
I wouldn't need to. I mean, my kids love that stuff.
Flavored in so many different things. It's not just, Old Bay season, but there'll be crab season in the chips. I mean, they love crabs here. So don't be surprised if you're driving around the state and you see some people on a picnic table and they got some newspapers laid out and these little hammers, these little mallets there, because they're going to go at it when it comes to those crabs, okay? So definitely have when you hear it. The people love it, and it's all over. So please, 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 please don't skip out on the crab when you're here. It is that good. You do not want to miss out. My personal favorite is actually Maryland crab soup, which is not like, you're used to like crab bisque kind of stuff. This is not a creamy one. This is just like, it's just a fantastic crab soup that you're going to love. You have to have that when you're here. Now, another thing that might not shock people but might confuse people is how Marylanders kind of pronounce certain things. Now, I'm going to try to pronounce it like they do, but it's going to be wrong. But you just need to realize Maryland is more like Merlin, like for the locals sometimes, so be aware of that. And Baltimore isn't Baltimore, it's more Balmer, so you might be like, hey, wait a minute, what did they say? Oh, Baltimore, that's where you're.
So I was pronouncing it incorrectly if you are from there. So sorry, Michael.
I got you now, right? So be aware of that, because it might throw you off with a Hun here as well and some other stuff, but Just know that. Now, moving on to some unpleasant, shocking things when you come to Maryland, the drivers here. Now, we can write off some of the drivers because I-95 comes straight through Maryland, so you got people coming from the north and south driving through, not sure what to do and what a turn signal is. And
it cannot be worse than the drivers here in Slovakia. Like, oh my God. I always say goodbye to my kids and that when I leave anyway. I give them a kiss and a hug, and same with the missus. In Slovakia, I do it especially because I don't know if I'm coming back the way people drive here. It's scary, man.
I don't know. We'll blame them for that, but pretty much anywhere you go in the state, and if you're in the cities, the drivers are nuts. It's like they do not care about anybody else. It's only about them. Yes, I'm moving over. They're not merging. They're moving over because merging means, oh, we're working together. They're just like, I'm coming over. So do be ready for some crazy traffic driving and headache-inducing, like, I feel like I'm going to have a little bit of road rage while I'm here when you're driving in Maryland, okay? Because, I mean, every time I've come here, it's happened. And it can be especially like frustrating when you're going out to Ocean City. And I think that's another thing that shocks people is when you hear about Maryland, everybody knows about Baltimore. And if they know another town here, it's usually Ocean City. And basically, in the summertime, it's like everybody in Maryland is trying to get there for the weekend. And so you're shocked just how bad the traffic is, but also how people kind of forget their manners when they go there. Because honestly, if you're going around Maryland,
it's too busy
people
for me.
Are actually pretty cool. Like every bar I've gone to here, some local sat next to me and we just strike up a conversation. I got offered tickets to go to the Orioles game the other day when I was here. Like, you want to come? My wife dropped out. We want to come. I'm like, sure, why not? I mean, you have really friendly people, but when they get to Ocean City, it gets a little bit nuts because like the beach makes them go crazy and it's relaxation time or whatever. But going to Ocean City is a fun time. I'm going to give you that. If you want to go and have a good time in the summer, you can have a good time when get your Thrasher's fries when you're there with the apple cider vinegar and stuff. But
I love the fries. I love the fries with the potato skin still on. We do that quite often, yeah. And also, if Kat makes like mashed potatoes or something and she peels the potatoes, I don't know if it's a South African thing, but we used to do it quite a lot in South Africa. You cook the skins the same way you cook fries. Oh man, with a little bit of like salt and vinegar. Good.
Your experience at Ocean City might be a bit shocking for some tourists when you're here. It's fun to go to in the summer, but just know that in the summer it can be fun. Now, my next shocking thing for you, because I talked about those Thrasher's French fries, kind of got me thinking. I like to call this the Maryland Munchies, okay? So when you come to Maryland, they have some very distinct food. Like I talked about the Old Bay and the crab, and yes, that does influence some of the snacks you're here. The potato chips, the Oats potato chips have crab seasoning, and when you get Fisher's popcorn, this fantastic popcorn, like the Comric one's great, but they also have it with Old Bay seasoning in it to make it truly extra, Marylandy. They have that.
I'd like to try that.
Oh my gosh, the burgers, cookies. I don't know, because you can't really combine fudge and cookie in a word and not get banned from YouTube. But imagine, like, the top half is like this really thick chocolate fudge. It's so good. And it's like a shortbread cookie underneath. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. Like, you got to get those. You're here. Like, they're fantastic. I will tell you, you might be shocked how people react sometimes if you call a snowball a snow cone. Look, it's more like the shaved ice family than the snow cone family, but they call them snowballs when you are here. It's really refreshing. So if you got those Thrasher's fries in Ocean City, well, maybe what you want to do is get one of those snowballs to help cool it down a little bit, but also to kind of refresh yourself when you're here, because it can get a bit warm in the summers when you are here, and not just in Ocean City. I mean, it can be hot and uncomfortable here in Baltimore and other parts of the state too. And I think another little munchie thing, if you can find it, it's not everywhere, but if you can find the Smith Island cake, you will be surprised of all the layers of yellow cake with chocolate icing in between. Oh, it's so good. It's so unhealthy, but so good when you are here. And I know this isn't really a munchie, it's more of a drink you might have with your munchie, but Natty Bo, okay? National Bohemian. It is a local beer. I mean, it's an institution here in Baltimore. You're gonna have when you're here, and having that. But when they put the the Baltimore margarita, when they put the Old Bay seasoning on the top of it, and you drink that, yeah, that's another thing that you're like, what the heck? I mean, I had a shooter yesterday with an oyster in it, with the rim and Old Bay, with Natty Bo.
Shot with an oyster. It's like a, what do they call those little? I don't know. It's like got a snack inside. I love oysters. Kat had never had an oyster, and when we got together, I took her to a restaurant in the UK. It was called Loch Fyne, and they did seafood. And I think I ordered 12 or 24 oysters. They come out on ice, and I was eating them, and she wasn't sure, and she tried a couple, and she loves them as well. Now I freaking love oysters. I love all seafood. I love food.
Maryland meal or drink possible, okay? So that's kind of a fun thing, all right? Now, I think the ninth thing that shocks people is when they come to Baltimore, because if you hear about Baltimore, crime, you hear about the crime statistics, all these things, and there is crime issues. I think that will surprise you when you'll see, homeless, the beggars asking you money and things like that. I mean, that could be shocking in a bad way. But also, since you hear so many bad things about it, you don't realize how many great museums are here. I mean, you go to the Inner Harbor, you got the Maryland Science Center, which is super cool. The National Aquarium, that is worth going to. It's pricey, I'm not going to lie to you about that, but it's so worth going to. You got the Walters Art Museum right down here. You're walking around the city, you got really good neighborhoods. Fells Point is fantastic to go out and eat at. Here in Mount Vernon, the neighborhood I'm in now is cool. Inner Harbor, you want to take the water taxi around and do things. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff that's here that you can have a good time when you are here, but also sometimes the shocking things are the not good things here as well. But I think it's something you really have to mention if you're talking about Maryland. And then the 10th thing that's going to shock you about visiting Maryland is the fact that when you leave Maryland, you cannot get Old Bay at the same rate that you need to survive like you can here in Maryland. It's just not the same. Like, they don't have it everywhere. It's not on everything. You can't just get it with Old Bay on your popcorn or with your beer or anything. So please, I'm telling you, after you've been to Maryland for a while, stock up on the Old Bay. Bring it home with you. I know they might have it in your local grocery store, but they might not. And it's a shock for Marylanders when they go out of the state and all of a sudden it's not Old Bay everywhere. And I know it was the #1 shock how much they love it, but after you're here, you'll be shocked how much you end up loving Old Bay and not understanding why it isn't on every single table, in every single kitchen, in every single grocery store in the United States and around the world. Because Old Bay, that's Maryland.
Michael, do you eat a lot of Old Bay? Quite interested to know. It looks like an amazing place, actually. But then, like, when he mentioned that there's bad parts, I automatically assume that about anywhere in the world, because it's true anywhere. Like here where we are in Slovakia, yes, it's it's really safe. But then there's also some dodgy areas. It's everywhere, really. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that video. I'm quite interested. What is the winter weather like in Baltimore? Oh. Let's see. December 9, -2. Not too bad. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support as per usual. Yeah, I'll keep you posted about what's going to happen with those tickets and everything. I'm quite excited about that. As I say, we have to wait on the permission for the school, because if we take the kids out of school here without permission, we end up getting a fine, and yeah, that'll just suck. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. I'll try put up a vlog this weekend, because Garen actually has got a hockey game, but he's opted to go on the bus again, and we can stay at home. So it's a bit of a shame, but maybe I'll get a vlog up. Maybe me and Leia will go do something. Leia, Cat, and I. Anyway, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.